Good morning. Boy am I late today. Sorry about that, but something came up. I had to take care of it, and I did. So that's the end of that. Okay. Um, you know, Trump's running around trying to make everybody feel uncomfortable, and everybody is like one step away from going to jail. I've been one step away from going to jail my whole life, so it doesn't, we all have, if you think about it seriously enough. We've all done things that we sit around and say, not so sure about that one. But anyhow, I'm sitting here saying to myself, why is he doing this? Because he wants us. If he wants to see what people look like, look at the movie Rollerball, and there's scenes in the Rollerball where I believe the corporations are on the moon or whatever, and the people are working on the planet, and it's full of smog, and it's all blotted out. And they have this sport rollerball, which supposedly takes their minds off of it, because they can watch. It's like a blood sport. People get beaten, killed, and they have heroes, and they can worship their heroes to a point. Then the heroes get killed, of course, or they retire. I sit here and I don't understand Donald Trump. I mean, he has to be a really mentally disturbed individual to be doing what he's doing. His recent big deal was to defund the safety call lines, suicide call lines or whatnot for the lesbian, gay, bi community. I don't know, LBGTG, something like that. But you know what I'm talking about. I don't know the initials, but I do know who they stand, or what they are, and who they stand for. And I think that the fact that he doesn't care if these kids go out and get so depressed and they kill themselves. I had a friend with he was a friend of a friend, and he was gay, and I worked with the kid. We had 3 gay guys working in there at one time, I think. 2 of them were assholes. They had problems outside of being gay. And we had Texas white bigot, and this is in a French restaurant. And this one gay kid was getting picked on and everything, and he used to come to me and my friend, which was an older lady, and he would break down and cry because we were his friends. And I said to him, look, is there someplace else do you want to not be here? I said, maybe you could go someplace else and start all over and you would be fine. And he says, I want to go to San Francisco. Now, San Francisco was still considered was considered the gay capital of America, and it was also very liberal, and it was great music, and it still was great music and great food and everything. So I said, go, man. I said, knock yourself out. Maybe you'll meet somebody and fall in love, And he didn't like talking to me too much because I was 100% straight, but he understood me, and we did talk about certain issues, and he was a really nice guy, and you try to help nice people, and you beat up the other ones, especially when I couldn't get my the owner of the restaurant to do it, or any of the other people in the place except my friend to support this young man. So finally he just quit. Got in a plane, went to San Francisco. That worked. As far as I know, he led a great life out there. Met somebody, all that stuff. I don't know that much more about him because my friend passed away, and that was our connection. So, but I do understand a lot of things about. Look, I was a a fat little kid that 6 foot, over 6'2", and fat when I was in the sixth grade, and people just picked on me because I wasn't strong enough. I had the body but not the strength, and so people picked on me all the time. And I understand that. I understand what it's like to be isolated from everybody. Now I want to be isolated from everybody. It's a different story now. Because I don't like what's going on in the United States at all. And I'm actually glad I'm not living there. Because I wouldn't know how to talk to my friends. I wouldn't know what to do, I want to help everybody, and you can't. You have this really horrible situation up there where now you have secret police. It's like Russia, Everybody says it's fascism. No, it's like communism. It's like Stalin. And that's, there's certain aspects of everything that he does. Trump goes around and calls people a communist. Right now, a communist is more liberal than Trump is. If you want, and I hate those terms, liberal, conservative. Man, I don't understand why we have to label everything. That's a story for a much later time, that we have to sit around, we have to label everything. Republicans are considered conservative. Republicans right now are considered fascists as far as I'm concerned. They don't care about anything. That has nothing to do with what the definition of conservatism. That they're just all about money. They don't have any empathy for anybody, not even their own families and stuff, it appears. Since I see J.D. Vance is in problems with his family, Trump's in problem with his wife. I mean, nobody cares about anybody anymore. And this didn't happen overnight. This has been a long time coming, where there's and it's not, you need the church. You don't need the church. Church was raping kids and stuff like that, so that's not the way to go. No, this was really a strange situation. This is a strange world. And I don't understand it. How did we get to this point? And it's like when Biden and McCain, before Biden became president and everything, and Senator McCain, these senators were able to work together and got deals done and got things done, And I think that had to be the most frustrating experience at all for Biden as a president, because he couldn't. The whole government was against him. You had the Republicans were against him. They started with Obama. And that was Trump, because Trump hated Obama from the get-go because he was black. And he was better liked, and he was more popular than Trump, even on Trump's television show, He was more, people listened to him and was more I think not more popular, more respected is probably the term that really drives him crazy. And the only way he gets respect is by threatening people. He's a bully. I was in high school with bullies. I saw bullies when I got to my freshman year of high school. I ran into all these bullies. I eventually became friends with a lot of them, but I didn't bully people. These guys were ridiculous. And they're ridiculous now. The Republican, it's not just Trump, it's the whole Republican Party is a bully party. You get the one, Vance struts the part of a bully, but Vance is a bigger, Trump is a chicken shit, but Vance is a bigger coward. And I don't know anything about Hexit's military career or anything like that. I just know that he came out of the National Guard, and so did I. Different eras. Mine was my era was, it was just basically a shelter from the draft, and it was used for rural people to, when they came back, soldiers that came back, they couldn't have just joined the National Guard to try and help, so that make extra money and whatnot. It was, and they were never called up. But since I got out, the units have been called up. They end up in Afghanistan. They ended up in Vietnam, Afghanistan, all over the world. So they're actually basically they're considered part of the active military. So it's kind of hard to figure out how many troops the United States actually has that are combat trained and ready. Hope we don't have to find out. I hope we don't have to fight each other to see what's going on in this world. But anyhow, two things. I mean, the lesbian community is persecuted so much by their own families and whatnot. The depression these people feel is something that would break anybody. Any straight person in the world had that kind of pressure on them. It's going to break them. There's nobody that can handle life like that, and they shouldn't have to. There should be help for them, and there isn't. I got help. I wasn't gay, but I got help for depression, and it helped me a lot. I don't, sometimes first of all, the hardest thing to do is to be able to ask for help. But when you ask for help and it's nothing there, Trump doesn't care. He doesn't bat an eyelash. He doesn't blink about it. Trump's just a blob right now. He's useless. He's not a politician. He's not the president. He's not nothing. He's just a blob sitting there, yakety yakking. And it's a shame because he had a chance to do, because he was so popular. He had a chance to do some things. Unfortunately, he was popular with the wrong people. When you have criminal people with criminal backgrounds that go out and start a riot, that's not a political movement. That's a coup. They can say whatever you want. But if we started to march on let me tell you something. The Democrats handled it very well, and the police and everything handled it very well. But if it happens again, and it's the Democrats going and marching on Washington to protest, I guarantee you they'll be shot. Because Trump isn't going to stand for any national protest. It's just about, the day of the protest is just about done. The day of the news media having an influence is just about done. They'll burn themselves out and destroy themselves, but not before they've destroyed this planet. And not just the United States, the planet. Do you think that Trump and his white nationalists are going to sit around and make all these great deals with these African nations and not exploit them to the point where they can go in and take over the government, and subjugate these people if they can? That's just Donald Trump and the Republican Party. All right, listen up. It's time for my little speech about subscribing. And listen, I will also be live tomorrow night between 7:30 and 8, I hope. Unless something comes, I'm going to be out of the house earlier during the day, so I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But I'm going to try. So you check YouTube at 7:30 to 8, and if I'm not there, I'm not there. But I'm going to try and be there. I'm about a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever. One topic, I don't know what it's going to be yet. Like I said, I have my mind wanders, so one topic actually turns into usually 2 or 3. So, check me out. Subscribe to my channel. I have a new subscriber. I'm up to 10 whole subscribers right now. And and YouTube was excited. And I said, so am I, you guys take care. Have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow night. Bye.